I thank the Lord once again for this beautiful opportunity to share from the word of the Lord with the SV family. When we read in Psalms chapter 14, the first verse says, "The fool says in his heart, there is no God." When I first read this verse as a child, I thought that the Lord was being a little harsh on the atheist, but that is not the case. When you read the verse, it says, "The fool says in his heart, there is no God." It is not written, "The fool says there is no God." It is not written, "The fool writes a book, there is no God." It does not say, "The fool rants on the social media that there is no God." But it says, "The fool says in his heart, there is no God." When a person does something wrong, there is a little voice in his heart which says that you have made a mistake and you ought to repent, you ought to mend it. Now there are two ways we can quieten that voice. One is to heed to that voice and accept that we have made a mistake, seek forgiveness and mend our ways. And the second is to tell that little voice in our heart, "Be quiet, there is no God. Be quiet, there is no God." Now, because when we do not believe in God, when we believe that there is no God, then we think we're free from the consequences. There is no God, so there is no judge, so we are not answerable to anyone. People believe in the Big Bang, that everything came from nothing, much like believing that a blast in the printing press brought about the dictionary. And also people believe that our ancestors were monkeys. They did not believe in the Big Bang and evolution because they find it convincing or they find it true, but because they do not want to believe in a God. We see the atheists have no problem believing that there is a parallel universe, but they have a huge problem believing that there is heaven and there is hell. Because the first has no consequences and the second has. So here, a painting needs no evidence to prove that there was a painter who painted it. Because the painting in itself is an evidence that there was a painter who painted it. Just like that, we don't need any proof to prove that there is God, that God exists. We exist in itself as a proof, is the evidence that God exists. When we look at a little child, when he tells a lie and he's caught, he's afraid, he feels guilty. Whereas that same boy, when he grows up and is leading a company, and when he has done a very grave mistake, and when he's confronted, instead of being sorry, he defends what he did. Now that is how our hearts harden as we grow up apart from the Lord. And so today, I want to tell you that if you have been living a life fooling your hearts by saying there is no God, because you do not want to be answerable for what you do, I think it is wise that we accept what we have done and go to God and seek forgiveness for what we have done, repent and live a life according to His word. And that is where the other verse in Proverbs come into view, wherein it's written, "The fear of the Lord is the beginning of wisdom." Because only when we acknowledge in our hearts that there is a God, He sees everything that we do, we're answerable to Him, that's when we begin living a life that is pleasing to Him, and that's what leads us to wisdom. God be with you and God bless you.